All right. Guys, it's entirely my fault that we are late to the game today. I'm very, very sorry about that. David actually, let me tell you how late I am. David was here before me. That's crazy. But there was an accident on the freeway, so there was not much I can do about it. Anyway, you didn't come here to find out all my excuses. But we have quite a day planned. We are going to address this clown in the Trump administration who has abandoned his post.
Well,
because he says Iran is no imminent threat to the United States of America, and he disagrees with the war. Bye, by the way. See you later.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that he's gone. I mean, if that is the mindset, then it's good that he's not there.
Yeah, why on God's green earth would you want somebody like that?
I mean, it's like, he was head of what, the counter-terrorist dynamic?
It is baloney.
And I'm trying to figure out who put the cat in charge of the milk. I mean,
it makes me sick. We're going to deal with that, and I'm going to deal with that in probably one of the most graphic ways I can think of, and I'm going to show you guys a video that's going to show you why that man is a complete fool, okay? He is a fool. Now, we'll talk about that, and then we're going to have a conversation about, of course, what's going in Iran. We have a big problem in Iran, a massive problem, and that is the fact that they don't have a leader anymore. Oh, wait, it's their problem.
Well, it is their problem, but it's also ours. I think
I agree.
I think this is part of the issue that we're talking. We got to dive a little bit into it. I've got an interesting connection to a ship that is making its way now to the Horns of Hormuz called the USS Tripoli.
Oh, you're going to talk about the Tripoli.
I'm going to talk about the Tripoli and why it's called the Tripoli.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. So
That, by the way, is a really cool story out of the Mediterranean. That's a very interesting story.
There you go.
I didn't even know that boat was on its way to Hormuz.
It's on its way, and we're going to connect to that when we talk about the Horns of Hormuz.
Okay, that's going to be good. He didn't even tell me we were going to talk about this before the show. That's good. Okay, so we're going to have that conversation. We are also going to talk about the bombings that are happening right now in Beirut. Actually, really, southern Lebanon is the bigger problem.
Yeah, but I want to go further. And again, since I am live and I know what's going on and I'm following what's going on in Israel, please pray. There are tens of missiles above the heads of the Israelis in the northern part of Israel, literally right now. The Hezbollah is pulling off, what did you call it? A Hail Mary?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of a Hail Mary.
It's kind of a Hail Mary, which means that there, at last count, something like 50 launches against Israel. Most of them have been intercepted. We've seen some of the interceptors, but the feeling we've been kind of waiting for this, the Hezbollah to kind of pull out all stops. It is happening literally as we're speaking right now. Pray for the people in the bomb shelters. Pray for the people running for the bomb shelters. By the way, more people have been injured running towards the bomb shelter than have actually been injured by the Iranians. I mean, that's something that we need to think about. And
by the way, I just want to say this right off the bat. Dean, one of my moderators, thank you for pushing this question up to me straight up. Bibi Netanyahu is not dead. He is alive and well. Okay? He is absolutely alive and well by God's grace. That's a whole other, I know.
You know what I'm doing here?
I know.
I'm showing you I got 5 fingers. I'm not AI.
I know. Hey, Candace, you're saying Candace asked for a debate. She didn't ask for one with me, did she? No way. She doesn't even know who I am. That's interesting. I'll have to ask about that tweeter trash. Maybe you can clarify with me.
By the way, since I'm doing the 5 fingers, I'm giving another teaser. Do we want to talk about this today?
Oh, yeah. I had no idea where that came from, and that absolutely has to be a conversation.
Well, since I saw Bibi going like this, I just go like this, and you got a whole new definition.
Yeah, give that. By the way, tell Tucker Carlson that story, and he'll lose his mind. He'll start bashing the Chabad.
I'm not sure I want to do that because, let's kind of. I'm teasing a little bit right now, but basically. according to the lore, this means live long and prosper. And there is a biblical connection to that. And a lot of people don't know that. But I do not want Tucker to live long and prosper. Living long, I'm okay. I don't want him to prosper.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson is an evil man. I actually believe that, like Candace Owens and very much like a few others, I think Tucker Carlson's a Satan worshiper.
Yes.
And I'm not, that's not a figurative language. I think he is a Satan worshiper. He may not even realize just how deeply he worships the enemy, but he does. and I think I can prove that.
So we got a lot of things to talk about. Where do we want to start?
Okay. I want to start, by the way, we're going to update you on Iran, of course. We're going to talk about the Strait of Hormuz, which, by the way, this is very interesting. This may be the Tripoli conversation. I don't know. I'm very curious to know what the story is. If you guys don't know the significance of that,
no, we've got some nice teasers for you today. Stay with us.
That's a teaser for me because I'm kind of
okay.
I don't really know.
Okay.
I don't really know what's going on as far as that's concerned. I don't really know. I will. Well, okay. Let's do this. Let's address the man who says we are not in any imminent danger at all. Iran is no danger. Like, I quit. I cannot serve in any form of service to you, President Trump, because Iran is no danger and we don't have to fight them because they're no imminent threat.
Yeah, well.
Okay. You have probably never heard the word Islam before, if you believe that.
Yeah, and Shiite. But again, no. Here's the thing, and maybe this is important. What's his name? He was. Do you remember his name?
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah. Well,
I've talked about him many times before.
Well, what his role was to be the main.
I'll bring it up right now.
Advisor for counterterrorism. And if a person who deals in counterterrorism does not understand that the Islamic Republic of Iran is a threat to the United States, even though, if he doesn't get that, even though they yell death to America on a regular basis every Friday, then he is not in the right job. And thankfully, I don't know how he got the job, but thankfully, he has decided to resign. He should have been resigned a long time.
It's Kent is his name. Goodness gracious.
Ken?
No.
Joe Kent.
Is it Joe? Is it Joe?
Somebody said Joe Kent here.
Yeah. Anyway, he's a clown. Okay, he's a total clown. Oh, by the way, here's the response of the president on this. I got this. Let me see if I can play it out loud. Let's see here.
Conflict with Iran. What's your reaction to that? And did you?
Well, I read a statement.
Let me see here.
Mr. President, your director of national counterterrorism, Joe Kent, he just resigned today. He said he can't support your conflict with Iran. What's your reaction to that? And did you?
Well, I read his statement. I always thought he was a nice guy, but I always thought he was weak on security, very weak on security.
You can't
I
get
didn't
much
know him
weaker
well,
than
but
that.
I thought he seemed like a pretty nice guy. But when I read his statement,
Yeah, look, to say that Iran poses no imminent threat to the United States of America, like, dude, you are either on their payroll, you're a liar, or you're beyond ignorant. And I'm not saying ignorant, I'm like ignorant. You have no idea what Islam is all about. You have to be some level of broken. You have to be jacked up. How in the world, what in the, huh?
Okay, so here's the thing, and maybe this is a good discussion to get into, because did you hear that they canceled the charges against the Unit 100 that was accused of sexually molesting Palestinian prisoners in one of the holding prisons during the war?
I did not hear this. I know there was a big old Balagan
There was a whole
trial
Balagan
over it.
about
Yeah.
Okay, and in a nutshell, the Hamas fighters that were captured during the 7th of October were put in a military prison, and there was a military unit that was dedicated to guarding them. And somehow the unit got accused of sexually molesting the prisoners, and it went all over the world news. I mean, everybody was publishing it, and our
Probably by what's her name?
our JAG,
Yeah,
what do you call it?
that devil.
Okay, our JAG
Yeah, she's a devil.
actually indicted them and
Yeah.
put them on trial.
Yep.
Okay, and again, not only did that, but made it public. Meaning, if this was an internal military issue, why make it public? She made it public because what she was trying to do, and this is what I'm trying to connect to this guy right now. She actually got it in her brain that it is her job to solve the war by making Israel so shamed that they have to stop the war.
Well, she's in bed with the attorney general, with the corrupt attorney general over there, and they're probably angry lesbians, to be honest with you. But the reality, I know. Look, I'm
not going to go down
don't
Megyn
get me-
Kelly
don't-
talking about what's his name.
don't get me going on my disdain for the attorney general in Israel, as well as the JAG, who belongs in prison, by the way.
Yeah, I totally
Federal
agree.
prison. Well, whatever
We don't
the
have a
equivalent of
federal-
federal prison, you know what I mean.
We're not big enough for federal.
Yeah, but it's insane.
But here's
By
what
the
I'm,
way,
here's
can
what
I-
I'm trying to say.
Let me just say this really
Yeah.
quickly. All of you guys giving super chats, thank you so much. We could use them. We're blessed by it. I want to say this before David says anything else. We are at do or die moment. If there is anybody that is in the business of getting a loan to us quickly as a church,
Whoa.
we would be happy to talk to you. If you're willing to donate, we're happy to talk to you. We need a few $1 million. We're short a few $1 million of this building. I don't mind saying that. If there's anybody here that actually wants to be a part of that, please let us know. We're a few days away here. We're literally at the final hour. So I'm calling upon people watching this. This would make a huge difference for us. It would put us in an 800 to 1,000 seat sanctuary. And if you think we're making a massive impact right now online, wait until we build out the studio that we hope to be able to build out as a result of having a building like this. So if you guys are in this business and you can do this, it would be awesome. And we're looking for donations or any type of an easy term loan. I mean, anything. We'd even pay a massive amount of interest if necessary, just so we could get our foot in the door. It's super, super, super important.
I'm adding on another layer. He promised me a studio if we do this. So,
Yes,
I mean,
David would get his own studio out of this. Absolutely, he would. Absolutely.
So I'm trying to throw in the fun stuff.
Yeah, we would be able to get a lot of great things done. And if any of you have the ability to be able to do that, we would love to talk to you. Call the church office, 562-804-5509, if it's something that you could do. It's super, super important.
I see somebody put a link up here.
Yeah, or of course, you could also give online. That would be a huge help. We have a massive goal, and we have an awesome God. We really do. He's faithful. He's very, very good to us. So he'll provide it, and he'll open up the doors. There's a lot of complicated things tied to that. Okay, David, continue on with what you were saying, and then I'm going to spit in the face of the lie that this so-called security staffer.
No, there's a security staffer. I heard one of the generals in Israel that are kind of conveying this. The old military establishment, IRGC, the old chief of staff, all of them had this.
What a joke.
Yeah, all of them had this idea that appeasement can be a way to deal with an evil enemy.
Yeah.
And I think that is at the core of this. The people who do not believe that evil is evil, it's just misbehavior. And then discuss, we can appease, we can do this. It's a mindset. And by the way, I'm taking this a level higher. This is what Europe is going through with the whole Iran thing. And
100%.
Trump was against them. I heard part of his press release today. He actually said again and again and again, NATO is, is not stepping up to the plate here.
They
NATO
turn their
is not
backs on
doing-
us. That's
they
right.
turn their backs on us. And Europe is trying to appease Iran. And here's the thing. I think President Trump has realized, Israel Bibi has realized, most of us have realized that evil cannot be appeased. It has to be taken down. It has to be put in the ground, basically, is the way we say it. But there are still people who believe that appeasement is a possibility. So if this counter-terrorist specialist, if that's what he wants to call, believes that the best way to deal with terrorism is by talking, relating, having a discussion, then you understand that, and we're understanding now how wrong that whole dynamic was on all different levels. Israel is going through it right now. Israel is going through a deep, deep discussion about the whole concept of appeasement. How did we get here? How did we allow this to happen? And President Trump, I think, more than anything, simplifies is symbolic of a shift in the mindset from the appeasing left woke let's wrap everybody up and help them to we need to stand up and fight evil as it is. And I was listening to President Trump today. He was talking to the Prime Minister of Ireland.
Oh yeah, I actually I got through the first 15 minutes of that interview. I haven't or the press conference. I haven't caught the rest of it.
And one of the interesting things that I kind of grabbed onto is when somebody asked him about Cuba.
Oh yeah.
And he turned to Marco Rubio and said, "Here, I mean, Marco Rubio is going to be the next president of Cuba if this keeps on going like this." I mean, theoretically, he just turns to Marco Rubio and says, they're a government that's fallen apart and the government needs to be replaced. And he said that live on, a press release. So I think we're with the government that doesn't want to appease anymore. And that doesn't mean that we have all the solutions. And the war with Iran is going to be going on. And we need to go into the details. But Israel is saying we're not going to appease Hezbollah in Lebanon anymore. And that's what's going on right now. America is saying we're not going to appease Iran. And I think, and again, we keep on saying this here, this is a discussion that President Trump and the American administration is having with China as much as anything else, saying we are not going to appease. I mean, think about this. Iran is a Chinese proxy.
Right.
And President Trump is taking them on. So, yes, I mean,
this is, look, I cannot emphasize this enough. This is Islam. You could even separate yourself from the difference between Sunni and Shiite. It doesn't even matter. The Shiites are a lot more violent, okay, which is Iran. That represents that population, okay? But I want everybody to see how absolutely ugly this is. So the guy who works for Trump who says, I cannot do this. I can't oppose Iran because Iran are fun-loving, peaceable people, and they kissed me on the lips the other day and I liked it. Okay? You have to watch this because it's just ridiculous.
Not only watch, listen to what he says. This is critical because we need to know the enemy.
This is Islam. And the only time you believe Islam, the only time you should believe Islam is when they quote their Quran or when they talk about violence to the infidel. Pay attention to this. Oh, they're all fun-loving. Oh, they're all so peaceful. Let's just live and let live. Okay. Let's see how this serves you.
Wants to put a Muslim ban. He wants to ban Muslims. We will tell him, this isn't your country to ban. This is the land of Allah. As every land is the land of Allah.
This isn't your country to ban.
He's talking about
talking
the
about
United States.
America.
Yeah.
I just want everybody to hear this again.
Ban Muslims. We will tell him, this isn't your country to ban. This is the land of Allah, as every land is the land of Allah. And there are Muslims here, that are going to be here. And if you don't like it, I would suggest he goes somewhere else. But I don't know where he's going to go. If he goes back to Europe, a lot of Muslims in Europe. I've been there recently. You go to Africa, you go to South America, you go to China, you go to Malaysia, you go to Japan, you go to the Antarctic. There's Muslims. So I would make a suggestion. If he wants to go somewhere where there is no Muslims, I suggest he goes to hell. And know that our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given us the
Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ah!
tidings that this religion of Islam will enter every household. Every household. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Sahih Hadith, he told us, this ummah, the guarantee, this ummah who will be victorious, and those that try to overcome them will not be able to.
Iran is firing at the Negev desert right now, by the way. Literally right now.
Are you still not worried about Iran being dangerous to the United States of America? You bozo?
They say it. And here's what we're trying to say again and again. Listen to the enemy. The enemy is very clear about what he wants. They're very clear about what they want. That's the whole idea. And as long as they're saying it, why don't we take them at face value? Why don't we listen to what they say? Why don't we kind of connect to what they're actually saying? They are saying we want to take over the United States of America. They're saying we want to take over the world. And not in the way that I say when Jesus comes back, everybody's going to bow down. Fine. They're saying, no, we need to take it, Dar el Harb, the world of the sword. And that's what they're planning.
This is what we're facing. So if you want to, in the face of Donald Trump, because you hate him, because you don't like him, even though he's going to go down as one of the best presidents we've ever had in United States history. I just can't work with him. Okay.
Fine.
Okay. Go to Iran and say you're an American. You're a counterterrorism expert. And take off your suit jacket and try to go hug one of the imams. Go ahead.
Okay, and something just now came up on the feed that I want to stress, and this is something that's been on my heart lately. Yes, pray for the people of Iran. Please, please. I mean, we talk about this. We talk about the imams. We talk about the government. We talk about the regime, and again, I can understand, and they are the evil in Iran. But pray for the people of Iran that are being used as motivators of these people, that are being used as human shields, that are being used to support these anti-God haters like this, and they're bearing the brunt of this. They are, again, I can't help but say it like this, they are the chariot drivers of the chariots that drowned in the Red Sea right now. And I don't know if you know, but according to Jewish tradition, we actually pray and regard those, because there's a tradition that says some of the children of Israel were celebrating when they kind of drowned in the sea. And Moses said, why are you celebrating? These are God's creations that are dying right now. And yes, the Iranian people are God's creations that are paying a horrible price for these villains.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And the evil that we're seeing right now is very difficult to describe. Very difficult. It's just absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
So he's gone, and thank goodness. But you guys need to understand that Islam is coming for your children.
They want your children.
And we've seen what's happening, and President Trump was sitting with the Irish Prime Minister, and he says Europe is in a very bad place. Literally said that, and something's going on, and your how do you say, immigration policy is creating 1, 2, 3, and the Irish Prime Minister says, wait a minute, Europe is not a bad place to live in.
No, not at all. Not at all. I would love to go to Europe. I'd love to just hang out with those Islamists, Islamic fundamentalists that are, completely just destroying children. And come on. Europe is a nice place to live. You know what? If you really, truly want to know what it feels like in Europe right now, go to downtown LA and hang out with the slumlords.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Are we going there today?
Should we go? Did you want to go talk about this for a quick second?
Let's talk about that.
Okay, and my curiosity has been sparked. You owe me an explanation on the ship that's on its way to this area. This is of great importance to me.
Let's zoom out a little bit.
Okay, so we're zooming out, not in. Okay, here we go.
Let's zoom out. Let's start with what's going on there. Give me a little bit more. Okay, so we're at the Horns of Hormuz. The Horn of Hormuz, which is basically the bottleneck, the zigzag, the bottleneck into the Persian Gulf. The Persian Gulf, can we zoom out to the Persian Gulf a little bit? Let's see what's going on with that. Okay, that's the Persian Gulf. The right side of the Persian Gulf, the eastern side of the Persian Gulf is Iran, or, by the way, the ancient kingdom of Elam.
Yes,
mentioned in Jeremiah quite a few places.
Jeremiah 49. There's an interesting discussion there.
There we go. But the western part are what we call the Gulf states. So there's Iraq on the top. There's Kuwait. There's Saudi Arabia. There's Bahrain. There's Qatar. There's the UAE, Abu Dhabi, and there's Oman on the corner. So all of the oil and all of the produce that is manufactured in all of these countries that wants to get on the ship and go anywhere else in the world has to go through that zigzag. So let's go back into the zigzag a little bit, into the horns, and talk about the fact that the northern part of these horns are Iran. That's Iran territory. The southern part is Oman and the UAE, but you can see that there is a narrow gap. And the shipping lanes, one that goes this way and one that goes this way, are actually 2 miles wide, meaning if you control this, you control everything that comes in and out of the Persian Gulf. What comes out of the Persian Gulf is much more important. These are the Horns of Hormuz. 1/5 of all the oil passes through here, all the world's oil. And I think something like 1/2 of all of the natural gas that gets moved passes through that little gap right there.
Yeah, and I do want to do this because I think it will be I think it'll be beneficial just to kind of explain for effect. Okay, before the war, Iran for the most part had most control over this area that I'm talking about. Now I'm going to zoom out just so you have a better idea of what we're doing here. Okay, there's another choking point in the Red Sea. And I should probably point this out because it is beneficial. This is a critical choke point because all kinds of things, including energy, travel up through the Red Sea here, where you see my mouse, right? And it goes up through the Suez Canal into, of course, the Mediterranean, and then out to European countries. It is very fast because of the Suez Canal. And it has made a tremendous difference. Now, the reason why I bring this up, because it's I want everybody to understand this, okay? You have this little area. Let me go back to this little area where the mouse is, okay? You have this little area called the Strait of Hormuz. It controls so much of the energy interests associated with all of the GCC countries, okay? We're talking about Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Dubai, At least Saudi Arabia has the ability to cut across land and go up through the Red Sea. But I want to bring this up because this is important, okay? There's a choking point right here. This choking point is also very important. And I don't want people to lose sight of what this means here, because if this is not controlled area, this is basically the strait that we call Bab al-Mandab.
Bab al-Mandab.
Yeah. Okay. If you block passageway here, you have a huge problem. This problem became a big issue when in Yemen there was an internal civil war between the northern and southern Yemen. And as a result, there was a man by the name of Houthi who basically thought that he was going to set up a youth revolution of some sorts, which turned into something far worse. Now, I'm going to put that aside for a second, because what they started doing was interfering in all kinds of ways. That brings us to the discussion of a little country by the name of Djibouti.
Djibouti.
Now, this is why Djibouti is so much more consequential than anybody could ever think. Because Djibouti is the home of, I want to say, at least 15 military bases belonging to 15 different countries. It's where Japan's only remote military base exists. You've got China there.
Russia.
You've got Russia. You actually have the United States. You have multiple countries there. Why? Because like the Strait of Hormuz, they recognize the fact that Bab al-Mandab is a huge problem. If you have a situation where this becomes exploited, you're in big, big trouble. And when I say big, big trouble, I mean big, big trouble. That's why the Eritrea relationship that exists with Djibouti is complicated. It's for the same reason that we've been talking about altogether. Here's the problem. You have a safeguard there because of the bases that exist. Prior to President Trump doing what he did, you had no such safeguard here. That's an important thing.
Meaning that there are no American bases within striking distance of the Horns of Hormuz. Zoom out a little bit, and we'll kind of make two more connections here. One is that the Red Sea right now is the, the patrol area of the USS Gerald Ford, meaning there is a carrier attack group in the Red Sea right now.
That's right.
On the other hand, on the right side in the Indian Ocean is the attack group of the USS Abraham Lincoln.
That's right.
Okay, so we got all that, and America and Israel have been pounding Iranian assets, and as a result of that, Iran has said they're closing the Horns of Hormuz. You close the horns like this by mining them, put mines underneath, and you close them by threatening to fire shore to ship, I think you say, land to sea.
Yeah.
Rockets at ships that try to cross. Meaning, and here's the thing. You can't really defend completely against this. The reason is that even if you could defend against 90% of the rockets, this is what Israel is going through, the fact that 10% or even 3% might get through is enough to make sure that no insurance company is going to insure any ship going through the Horns of Hormuz. And that's the situation we have right now. And this is a situation that as long as Iran doesn't surrender or switch the regime, meaning overthrow the regime, they have the ability. That's their ace in the hole. And when President Trump hit one of their oil facilities, he basically says, if you don't open up that shipping alley, then we will have to hit your economic assets. That's the situation we are in right now. And this is the point where the American administration, President Trump, has got to say, okay, they have not decided to call uncle yet, then we're going to have to hit them some more. And as a result of that, the USS Tripoli is now past Singapore. If you go to the right, you're going to see where we are. and just now past Singapore, and is passing through probably today or tomorrow the Straits of Malaga. Straits of Malaga, go a little bit to the right. You can see that strait right there between. There you go. For Singapore, they actually saw the Tripoli in Singapore 2 days ago, which meaning it's on its way. The Tripoli is a aircraft carrier, but a different kind of aircraft carrier.
Yeah. boy, is it ever a different kind of carrier.
It is. So, a couple of words about the USS Tripoli, what makes it important. Basically, it is an amphibious attack ship. It is a marine base. Marines, if you understand, come from the shore and come from the sea and land on the shore. In the past, this ship would be used for landing craft that actually would exit the ship and make their way to shore. Today, there are no landing craft per se, but they have helicopters and Osprey, tilt motor airplanes. And basically, the Tripoli is a ship that allows the United States, and I'm going to say this in a way that most people don't understand, to put boots on the ground.
Yep.
And that's what President Trump is now sending towards the area that we're talking about.
Which is very interesting because the one thing about the Tripoli that a lot of people might not be aware of is the fact that it's been sitting in the South China Sea for a little while because of the situation that's gone on with the Philippines and China.
Exactly.
That's been a response to that. And that, by the way, has been very good for Israel because of the relationship that Israel has with the Philippines. There's another issue about the Tripoli that a lot of people don't know that recently got announced, and that is the fact that the United States of America covertly received some drones that Iran had created, Shahed drones that Iran had created. I think it was given to them courtesy of the Mossad, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think we might be guilty of stealing a couple of those.
And the United States, actually, my understanding is the Mossad set up that factory in Iran and started building them in Iran. They were thinking they were Iranians. Anyway, those drones got given to the United States of America, and the United States of America outfitted them. And the only reason why I'm saying this is because it just got announced. Outfitted them with their technology and then basically started flying them overhead in Iran to destroy some of their air defense systems because Iran thought those were theirs.
And so, because this was published, by the way, do you see? By the way, I've been following the Iranian, news outlet. They're saying that the drones that hit Abu Dhabi were American drones. Okay, but let's go back. I want to go back to the Horns of Hormuz, and I want you to understand what the fact that the Tripoli is on the way actually means. Let's zoom into the Horns of Hormuz again.
Okay.
And say two things. First of all, the Tripoli is not an aircraft carrier. The aircraft carriers are sitting in the Indian Ocean, out a little bit, out a little bit more. Okay, the aircraft carriers are sitting in the Indian Ocean. They're far enough not to be able to be hit by the Iranian counter ship defenses, okay? But that also means that the attack range from the aircraft carrier to the Iranian shore is long, meaning the plane has to fly a long way. That gives us just a couple of minutes over target before they have to turn back and come back to the aircraft carrier. The Tripoli, by the way, is much smaller, is much, not as deep, and it can get in up close and very personal in the Straits. And as I think it was Michael who actually added on here, it is also an aircraft carrier and also a troop deployer.
That's right.
Meaning it can deploy troops with choppers and Ospreys, but it also has 20 F-35Bs who are short takeoff
I did not know it had
and
F-35s
vertical
on it.
landing.
I thought they only had drones on there. I had no idea.
They have
that's
F-35Bs,
interesting.
and that means that the time over target is much, much longer.
That's
and
interesting.
That is what's going on. And what I'm trying to say is this. The minute President Trump sent to Tripoli here, he is actually opening an option. And let's go into the horns right now and go this a little bit deeper. And you're getting a little bit of a, okay, let's go. You see the two islands in the middle? They are the choke point, okay? Those are the choke points. Those islands are the choke point, and there's two islands in the Persian Gulf a little bit to the left. Those two little dots there on the, no, the little ones there. Okay, and what I think and what most analysts think, that if President Trump decides to take on these, then you have American control of the Horns of Hormuz.
But I don't. I had always thought that they wouldn't even touch Abu Musa because it's technically like a whole hospital island, right? Or no?
I don't know. I don't know about Abu Musa, but which one?
That's the smaller island here.
Well, there's the bigger one and the smaller one, but basically the idea is to take control of the Horns of Hormuz and make this an American asset. Now, here's the thing. President Trump was saying today, I am asking for help from NATO nations and all the other nations that actually need the Horns of Hormuz open. And here's a discussion, James. And let me add one more thing. Let's go out. Okay, I got to do this. Why is it called the Tripoli? Where is Tripoli?
Well, we know this is a northern Libya thing, but
It's why is an American amphibious marine aircraft base called the Tripoli?
That's why I was laughing, because it takes us back to the Arab Spring, and there's a very interesting.
No, it takes us back in even further. Okay, and let's go a little bit of history.
Do you know the Tripoli story during the time of Hillary Clinton's State Department?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. So that's what I was. I thought that's what I thought you were going.
I'm going back further.
Oh,
Okay,
well, I'm going to learn something
I'm going
here.
back to the time when the Berbers, which were the Arab kingdoms on North Africa, were actually collecting slaves in the Mediterranean Sea.
So what are we talking about? 200 years ago?
We're
250
talking about
years ago?
200 years ago. Jefferson was the president.
Oh, this is interesting.
Jefferson was
this
the
is
president.
the naval fight for the Barbary Coast.
Exactly.
No kidding.
And Jefferson was the president, and he came to the Arabs. He came to some of the Barbary princes and says, quit taking American hostages. We can't do this. I mean, why are you doing this? And the Muslim leaders said to Jefferson, by the way, Matt Welch has a whole story about the slave trade, the real story of the slave trade. This is where this comes from. Anyway, Jefferson said to the American military, we need to defend our people from being taken hostages and slaves. More than 1 million European white slaves were actually sold to Arabs and went into the slave trade.
Yeah.
So that's when they created the U.S. Marines in order to fight the Barbary Coast. And
I actually did not know that. That's very interesting.
One of the famous battles that the Marines, the first major battle that the Marines fought, were on the shores of Tripoli, which is where the song comes from the shores of Tripoli. That is a battle cry of the U.S. Marines, and that's why every Marine officer carries a Mamluk sword. Because the Mamluks were from Egypt, held them in the battle against the slave traders in Tripoli.
Interesting.
And the ship is named after the first battle of the United States Marine against slave traders in the Mediterranean Sea.
Wow, that's very, very, very interesting.
That is the USS Tripoli, and that is a connection between the fight against slave trade, and it's amazing that that is the showcase, the maneuvering base for the Marine Expeditionary Force. How do you say?
Expeditionary Force.
Expeditionary Force.
Yeah. By the way, for the person who's talking about Thomas Jefferson and created his own Bible or whatever, go read your history. Go read your history, and actually real history. Go to real historians, and you'll actually learn the story behind that.
Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that there's a reason that it's named the Tripoli.
Yep.
And it's because we are fighting against Muslim crazy people back then.
Okay, and Michael
now
Digman, Lieutenant Commander Michael Digman, United States
There we
Navy,
go.
says, who's one of my moderators and an incredibly smart man, he says, read the book 6 Frigates. Okay, I'm going to have to go
There
order
you go.
that.
So
I'm gonna order that book.
here's a Balagan connection. I love how these.
Interesting, man. I didn't know any of that.
But let's go back to this. The fact that the Tripoli is on the way, it means that Trump is going to he's going to have the option to put boots on the ground, probably actually in the strait itself, either the shores on the edge of the strait or one or two of the islands in the straits, and that is a whole new dynamic of this war.
Well, that's
going to
be political craziness, is what
Yes.
that's going to.
And
That's going to end up being really, really crazy.
was that clear? I hope that was kind of
No,
clear.
it's very, very. It's very, very interesting.
That's where
That's really, really interesting. I know the whole story, the Barbary Coast and all that, but and then Michael says that the Marines predate even that story of the Tripoli.
yeah, probably. I mean, I'm not sure, but we know that was one of the pivotal battles, and that's part of their.
undoubtedly.
Thank you, Michael.
Man, that's super crazy.
Yes, but here's again we've and I can't help but stressing, and that goes back to what we started off today. People don't get the idea that Islam is evil,
No, they do not.
and Islam
don't see it.
was evil. They allowed themselves to take slaves. They thought there was no problem,
Yeah.
and the United States of America has been at the forefront of fighting against this Islamic evil.
That's right.
All the way back then, and the name of the ship is indicative of that.
I mean, look at what the Quran says. The Quran says, وَمَكْرُ مَكْرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. That basically means that Allah is the chief of deceivers. Like,
And-
what are we doing here, guys?
And we're still back in this. So this is going to be interesting. The Tripoli is going to be there more or less next week. If it's at Singapore, it's going through the Straits of Malacca right now.
So here's my question, bro. You might know this answer. Maybe Michael Digman knows this answer better than I do. What happens with the South China Sea security problem that we have now as a result of them leaving? Because that was a very important position.
I think what's happening. Well, first of all, I'm going to say it like this: the Tripoli is an attack vessel. It's not a defensive vessel, and I think that the aspect is that while this is going on, China is not a threat.
Yeah, but Trump's philosophy of defense is the deployment of attack machines. I mean, that's kind of his mindset. I think the Philippines has really enjoyed the security of American presence in the South China Sea, at least outside of or inside of the international barriers that allow them to. I mean, the United States, even with President Trump, hasn't crossed this little DMZ area that's highly debated right now, that, by the way, China has violated. We actually, by the way, one of these days, we actually have to dedicate a whole show to talking about the South China Sea and what that means, because that's eventually going to affect everything that we're talking about in the Middle East.
Yeah, and somebody did mention there is still an aircraft carrier.
There
group
is. Okay,
in-
I
in the South
didn't
China
know
Sea.
that. Yeah.
This is not.
Oh,
I mean,
Michael says the USS George Washington.
yes,
is
there still is
and that's a
aircraft
massive carrier group.
No, it's a carrier group. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
one of the carrier
yeah.
groups. I think one of the 11 carrier groups. So anyway, so that's an update about this situation. We're going to have to wait and see. But I want to stress something else though. Why does the United States of America need to be in an amphibious assault craft like the Tripoli when you have the United Arab Emirates, you have Saudi Arabia, you have Dubai, probably in the same area?
I'll tell you why. Because the President of the United States has to be able to effectively communicate to the GCC that we are in it for the long haul in a way where our commitment to movement is not predicated upon what may be coming up in the midterm or predicated upon what the GCC decides or doesn't decide to do. This is a big play, by the way, on Oman, probably. My guess is it's basically telling Qatar to go kiss off.
Yeah.
I think they're telling Qatar, go eat dirt. And I also think that this is a massive preemptive movement to protect the interest in Kuwait, specifically the area of the southern portion of Iraq, not Kuwait, Iraq, the southern portion of Iraq, the peninsula that we all call El Fah, which actually affects Kuwait. And I also think that it protects the construction project that Saudi Arabia is producing called Naum. because that $1.5 trillion construction project, specifically the line that they're almost done with, has a contingency of nuclear energy tied to it that was promised to them in a memorandum of understanding by the United States of America in the last round of deals, and probably $800 billion of the $1.5 trillion that was promised to them directly by Saudi Arabia depends on that being together. So the president is, in essence, protecting the dollar investment that he made in Saudi Arabia, and I think that's what's happening there. And by the way, William Federer is the guy to go to learn about the Jackson Bible and everything else.
So let's
Jefferson
just move a little bit to the west here a minute before we kind of move out of the map issue, and I want to make two more connections that I think are fascinating.
We're going back west to the China Sea area?
No, the other way.
Sorry, my brain.
Let's move west
broken.
and go back. I want to see Israel too. Okay, and I want to see the Straits of Hormuz and Israel at the same time.
Notice how they call this the West Bank. Shame on them. Bunch of.
Okay, and here's two things that a lot of people don't think about. Okay, and we know that there are a couple of options. There is a pipeway going from the Persian Gulf to the Red Sea through Saudi Arabia.
This is big, by the way.
There is a pipeline.
You're talking about the Iranian-owned pipeline.
Yeah, I'm going to get to the Iranian-owned one, but let's start with the Saudi one. Okay, and if you can kind of move, you can see that, just put a line between the Persian Gulf and the Red Sea.
Yeah.
There is a pipeline that kind of transfers oil.
It generally follows the Iraqi border.
No. I'm talking about the one that goes directly through Saudi Arabia to not far from Mecca, a little bit to the north of Mecca on the Red Sea. That is.
Oh, I see what I know which one you're talking about. This is the one that connects to the reserve, the reserves in central
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. Yeah.
There, that kind of goes through. I mean, that bypasses the Horns of Hormuz.
Yeah,
the Horn of Hormuz.
Completely. It does.
There's another pipeline that goes through the little thing, the little bottleneck in Oman.
Yep.
Okay, and literally, you take the little finger sticking up in there to the right there. All right. There's a pipeline that goes exactly across there. Yep, right there, from the Persian Gulf to the Indian Ocean. But one thing that a lot of people don't realize that in 1972, just before the revolution in Iran that turned Iran into a Iranian republic or a fanatic republic, Iran paid for and bought another pipeline. Let's go back to Israel.
Yeah, this gets interesting right here.
Another pipeline that goes from the part of the Red Sea that sticks up to Eilat, if you look right there, kind of show us there, and that goes through Israel to Ashkelon, which is on the Mediterranean coast.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
That was a pipeline that was bought by and funded by the Iranian regime to allow them to bring tankers up the Red Sea, to offload the oil into that pipeline and pump it through that pipe to the Mediterranean Sea without having to go through the Suez Canal. That pipeline, by the way, I found out yesterday, is still active, is still usable, and could actually push 1.5 million barrels a day that also basically go around the straits.
That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. And that's something that's been of particular interest to me. And the big question is when does that get activated the way we think it's going to get activated?
So, I mean, somebody said put the map on the screen.
Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize we... I had no idea we didn't have the map on the screen. Oh, I feel terrible now. You guys missed most of it. We're pointing everything out. We're doing everything. I'm so sorry, you guys.
But I will say that we're at a very critical stage of this. Iran has said we're going to go down with the ship. The Iranian regime has said that we're going to go down with the ship. And my question is this, and maybe I need to go into this because I'm not sure, and I'm curious to know what your opinion is. Why is Europe standing aside? Why are the Gulf states standing aside? Why is Japan and India standing aside? Why is nobody...
Okay, wait, slow down. Let me answer all those questions.
Wait a minute.
Okay?
No, wait. Why is nobody willing to come on the side of the United States. And when I heard Trump on his little press release with the Prime Minister of Ireland, he was actually complaining. The Iranians are not with us. The Gulf states are not with us. And all of the nations that are dependent on that oil are not with us.
Yeah. So look, Europe is not with Trump because Europe is scared to death of all the sleepers they have. It's plain and simple. They have embraced Islam. They are Sharia controlled. They're a mess. Okay, they have not dealt with their illegal problem. They have not dealt with that Islam now has hold of most of Europe. That's the reason. In terms of the why is there no bite back on the Gulf Coast, the GCC, that's easy. That right there is President Trump basically saying, hold back, get involved on a limited basis, behave defensively, let us take care of the rest because we have to protect your interests security-wise. It's him building confidence amongst the GCC. The GCC is doing something that goes far beyond them acting militaristically speaking. The GCC is publicly condemning the actions of Iran while continuing to refrain from saying anything about the United States of America or Israel for that matter. Qatar has actually said some things about Israel that's negative. Surprise, surprise. That rhetoric has kind of calmed down since they've been dramatically attacked. The UAE has kept their mouths shut for many, many weeks now for good reason. What surprises me with the UAE is they've always been Iran's bank. So just to think about the fact that the UAE right now is doing what they're doing, I think that's just a play on them wanting more territory, and that relates to where they stand with Saudi Arabia right now. There's a reason why the UAE is fighting with Saudi Arabia, which, by the way, if normalization is stopped with Israel or blocked up, in other words, the royal family of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia say we want to hold off on normalization with Israel, it will have nothing to do with Iran. It will have nothing to do with Gaza or the Palestinians. It will have everything to do with their desire to not want to ally with the UAE.
I want to add another piece of information because this is fascinating. Do you know what ships are allowed to pass through the Horns of Hormuz right now? Chinese.
Commercial tankers.
Chinese.
Yeah.
And Indian.
Yeah, because they are the ones that in essence are carrying the largest amount of energy transport that go from the energy providers.
But here's the thing. India is an ally of both the United States and of Israel.
Yeah.
Iran is allowing Indian oil to go through because India is dependent on oil from the Persian Gulf in order to make sure that they do not participate with the United States of America.
Yeah.
Because if they had closed off access to Indian oil from through the Persian Gulf, then India might have been part of getting on the bandwagon. And if a country like India would get on, that would mean other countries, maybe Singapore, maybe Australia, would get on the whole story. But I think something else is happening. Everybody understands, and this is something that I think is critical to understand the new geopolitical situation. Everybody understands that America is going to do this, and America is going to do this with the help of Israel. And he stressed that Israel was on his side. And they're saying, wait a minute, why should we get on? If Papa America is willing to take on and Mama Israel is willing to deal with it, we don't even have to deal in it. And again, I think, and I'm kind of worried about that, I'm kind of curious about your opinion. If the world is saying, America, do what you want to do, we don't want to be a part of it. We don't want to take part. We don't want to be, we don't want to take the chance. We don't want to, we don't want to get into this security-wise. We're going to let you do what you want to do. And when you're done, we're going to wave the flag and say, wonderful, what you did. Or if you don't, then we're going to be able to say we didn't take part.
I think NATO is effectively killing itself right now. And I think that what's happening is the President of the United States is going to disavow himself from NATO. He has the legal authority, which, by the way, he reminded us in this press conference today. He has the legal authority to walk away from NATO. And if he does walk away from NATO, the only people that will suffer will be NATO itself. And by the way, there's a real caveat to that. Not everybody in NATO would suffer if the United States of America walked away from NATO. The one NATO member nation that would actually hugely benefit from this would be Turkey. And the president, make no mistake, make absolutely no mistake, may be more than willing to do that so that he can leverage what happens with Turkey to, in essence, put an end to the war between Russia and Ukraine. Because keep this in mind, if NATO is dead, Ukraine doesn't survive another day. Not another day. So there's a bigger issue at stake here, and the president is about to say, well, you have no gratitude? Fine. You know what? Go shove off. If he ends up doing that, stand by, because the geopolitics of Eastern Europe and Western Europe, for that matter, are going to change dramatically, which, by the way, could create a temporary peace condition that might make it beautifully viable for what we read may happen in Ezekiel 38. That's a little while down the line. But you have to keep in mind, Turkey becomes the greatest beneficiary of it. Poland probably will take the biggest loss on this. Probably a few others. Because of its dual association with the EU. The EU will go in a very, very, very bad, desperate situation because of what Viktor Orban just did, which, by the way, makes a huge difference. God bless him in Hungary. But the complexities that are associated with the border mechanisms that sit where Hungary is will effectively lock out the unification mechanism that the EU wants to deploy to create their globalist monster. So this is a big deal. And by the way, this is the very reason why the European Union is doing everything they can to interfere with Orban's election, with Hungary's election. Oh, yeah. And by the way, I should probably point this one other thing out, which is really important, okay? You have a big issue at stake right now with what happens with the EU, okay? With NATO, and specifically with the United Nations, if the Board of Peace continues to increase in its size and scope. It will go past Gaza.
The Board of Peace is, let's just quick reminder, is this, I'm going to say, alternative to the UN
100%.
that President
100%.
Trump planted, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
That is basically...
That the UN approved, by the way.
That the UN approved and is there in place to help solve the Gaza problem, but it might be a useful mechanism for President Trump to literally sideline the UN. And I think if I understand what he's going to do, and again, I might be dreaming, but he's going to sideline the UN and sideline NATO.
I think he has to. Look, the whole reason why the UN actually approved the assembly of the Board of Peace is because they knew if they didn't, then President Trump would pull himself out in his participation of the UN, which would function as a direct repudiation to the aggressive, let's just say, non-participation action that they took. And it would literally send Guterres running away with his head between his legs, because it would no longer make valid the stance of the United Nations, especially with the things that it says in the Security Council, okay? And it would dramatically affect everybody else. And I want everybody to understand this, because when you start looking at, this would affect everybody.
Everything.
I mean, this would affect
we're in
the
prophecy.
UK, it
We're
would
in
affect the
prophecy
Dutch,
level here.
And even if you take prophecy and you put it aside and you just look at the general geopolitics of everything that's going on right now with the United Kingdom, everything that's happening in the Netherlands, everything that's going on in Switzerland. I mean, all of these places, they all get dramatically affected. And the problem is none of them want to see that happen, especially because of the energy pipeline problem that they have and the dependency that they have on Russia. As a matter of fact, it's not a coincidence that the President of the United States is actually opening up the doors for energy exchange with Russia and Europe as a result of the problem with the Strait of Hormuz. So Russia is being incentivized to actually go back and end this war because of the dealing options that it has. Ukraine is now incentivized to do it because if they don't, they're all dead, right? And then you have a situation where Poland is begging to Almighty God, Almighty God that this actually gets put to an end. And the Board of Peace is the one that wins in this whole picture, while the UN falls by the roadside, especially its Security Council. And then maybe if NATO survives, which it probably won't, but let's just assume NATO did survive, then the UN has an opportunity, the EU has an opportunity to regroup itself with respect to the assembly of leaders that it wants to develop for its regional regional strategy. There's a lot to this.
And to cap it all on, because we do have to kind of cover one more subject today, who's in the middle of all the balagan? Who's the major ally of the United States?
Come on, man, your peoples.
Who is the only country that the United States of America can actually lean on and ally with everything that's going on in the Middle East? Who is going to come out on top of all this at the end? And I actually heard an Egyptian commentator saying to the Arab world, if Benjamin Netanyahu wins this, he is going to be the Caliph of the Middle East.
Yeah, come on. So much of this is actually true. And by the way, it's not a coincidence that Bibi actually proposed the idea that they develop some kind of a Mideast-based NATO. Remember when he was talking this way several months ago?
So here's the thing, and maybe, okay, and I can't help but say, maybe Iran is right. Maybe the combination between big America and little Israel is the combination that is going to run the world.
Perhaps.
That's scary.
Perhaps. One thing is for sure, there's a huge opportunity that's being made as a result of the actions of Israel. By the way, let me also say this. You can't, in the midst of all of this, you can't forget the diplomatic efforts that Israel is making in areas outside of what would be called the Abraham Accords. Look at what they're doing in the Baltics. Okay? Look at, I think it was Kazakhstan. Look at what they're doing right now with little Somalia. And the fact that there's
Somaliland.
Somaliland. We call it Little Somalia, but Somaliland.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what's going on. Little Somalia is kind of like the derogatory African League term, where you just it's the one that gets them all ticked off, you know. But it becomes like it's such a big deal. Like it's no small thing.
And all of this is happening. I mean, don't we live in amazing times, James? I mean, isn't it amazing to see all of this play out?
Bro, look, just stop for a second and consider all the things that are at play. Like if one of these variables that we're talking about turn 1 degree, look at how fast it could all go.
But I need to remind everybody, okay? Israel's in the bomb shelters again.
Yeah.
Sirens just now went off. I mean, just now went off again. I mean, we have to suffer the repercussions of this new world order, this new Middle East that has to come together. Otherwise, it's going to get worse. And again, Israel is bearing the brunt of this.
Can we spend just a few minutes talking about Lebanon?
Let's do it.
And what's going on? I'm zooming in over here because it is kind of an important it's an important discussion to be had, and I think that it's very, very easy to lose sight of actually what's taking place and just how bad things are, especially in this little finger area right here, and how it affects everything. This little area right here.
Zoom in. Let's zoom out. Let's say Lebanon. Let's show where Lebanon is in regards to Israel.
Here's Israel.
Here's Israel.
Lebanon.
Zoom in a little bit to the top.
To the top of Lebanon, or the top of
the southern Lebanon, northern Israel.
Okay, yeah, that's here.
And do you have that picture that I sent you? Maybe that'll kind of put it there, because you can see the border right there. And
yeah.
Where's that image? Let's talk a little bit about what's happening and kind of go through this.
The Hormuz image or the finger image?
I gave you a finger image of.
I believe I have that here. Hold on one second. I may actually have that here.
No, it's a new one.
Okay.
Can you pull it off?
Let me see if I can find it. Yeah.
Let me see if I can explain while we're doing this. Southern Lebanon. Lebanon is a very weak country, weak central government. And just like any place that has a weak central government, bad actors or bad players can set up shop. In 1982, I was 19 years old, or probably about 20 years old. I went into southern Lebanon to clear out the remnants of the Palestinian Liberation Organization that were using southern Lebanon to attack Israel. We cleared them out and kind of finished that war. And in the vacuum that was left there when we left, the Hezbollah took up space. In 2006, we fought another war against southern Lebanon where the Hezbollah actually took up control of southern Lebanon. And the situation now is that the Hezbollah, which is the last of the Iranian proxies, has decided to open up a third war with Israel over the northern border. Literally, they've been firing rockets from southern Lebanon into northern Israel. And as a result of that, people are literally scrambling to the bomb shelters right now. I mean, today they fired something like 50 or 60 rockets and drones into the northern part of Israel. Israel is saying we cannot allow this to happen. And as we are speaking, Israeli forces are doing something that I did when I was 20 years old, are moving into the southern part of Lebanon and taking up positions in the southern part of Lebanon in order to create a buffer between the Hezbollah and the people in Israel. Why is this kind of weird for me? Because I did it as a kid. And
speaking of you doing it as a kid,
I mean,
I have to show this photo to you guys because this photo is just absolutely unbelievable. Let me see if I can find it here. Hold on. Yeah. Take a look at this photo, you guys. Actually, let me just do this. Let me switch over so you can kind of see this full image. What a picture. What a picture. I'm sorry, but you got to love that. That right there is David. Yeah, that's you. That's David.
Me sitting on a tank.
Yes,
that's me sitting on a tank, and I mean, I can tell you everything that you see in the backdrop there. I mean, there's my 30 caliber machine gun, the commander's machine gun. There's my 60 millimeter mortar right there. The big black box behind the hatch is my night vision system that we would hook up on the machine gun during the night, and this is me, 20 years old, sitting on a tank in southern Lebanon.
It's a crazy photo.
What do you mean it's crazy?
I love it. I think it's awesome. Look at young David right there, just going to town.
Well, yeah. By the way, I was so freaked out.
Oh, I can imagine.
I was so scared. But that is a classic picture of southern Lebanon. You can see Mount Hermon in the backdrop, okay? And you can see an Israeli convoy actually coming through. And what I'm trying to say is this. Israel's going back into southern Lebanon as we speak.
And I've got this photo up right here.
And you can see the units that are going in right now. I mean, the 401, that's the unit I circled in a circle, is on its way in. And the red area is Lebanon. The blue area is Israel. But the dark red area, or the darkish red area, is what Israel Katz has said yesterday that Israel is going to take control over in Lebanon. We're going to create that buffer between us and our threats in Lebanon.
Which, by the way, I want to make this really, really clear. When Israel went into this area in 1982, this is the time that David is talking about, they stayed in this area for a while and then had to withdraw from it as a result of some of the...
Well, we say Lebanon became like our Vietnam.
Yeah,
we went in for the right reasons, and we got we got stuck there. But the PLO did leave. But the people of Lebanon again are anti-Israel. Specifically, the villages in the area that we see right now are Shiite.
I would be very I don't want to say the people of Lebanon. I would actually say the Shiites in Lebanon. Because they're not really even the majority anymore. I would say Hezbollah in Lebanon has been anti-Israel. And correct me if I'm wrong, bro, but I would maintain that this buffer zone, see, because everybody looks at this little red area and they think that this is Israel taking new land. This is really Israel going back and recreating the DMZ that they had before.
we don't want this land.
Right.
If we were not attacked from across this border, and again, what you're looking at, this is not long-range rocket attacks. This piece of land, this buffer, is to make sure that they don't fire anti-tank missiles into houses in downtown Kiryat
Yeah,
Shmona.
because can we go back and explain this for a second? Contrary to popular belief, it's easier for Israel to deal with these rockets than it is for them to deal with tank mortars, because tank mortars can't be intercepted. Now, don't get me wrong. There's new laser technology they're working on to fix that problem.
Yep.
But right now, there's nothing that they can do about it. So this is how they're keeping these houses from being destroyed, is by creating this buffer zone so that they can't allow these tank mortars to do the damage that's supposed to be done. And it's doing significant damage. And that's actually why this whole area to the north, the little finger area where the purple is, has been completely abandoned. And it was abandoned immediately after October. Not immediately, but right after Hezbollah started launching these attacks. This is why these people that were living in this area had to leave. By the way, Arabs too. Arabs too left this area.
By the way, but they haven't left. They're back. They came
Now
back.
they've come back, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
but now my son lives in the finger. Okay, he's staying in Modim. But what I'm trying to say is this. Israel doesn't want to conquer this, but we will have to deal with the Hezbollah. And what we're looking at right now is the Hezbollah. Okay, let's separate. The Hezbollah is a terrorist organization inside Lebanon. So why isn't the Lebanese government, who has no beef with Israel,
Right.
not taking over? And during the last Lebanese war, 2006, there was an agreement that was reached between us and the Lebanese government that they wouldn't allow Hezbollah to attack us in these red areas.
Yeah, nice job, Alan.
And they didn't work.
Yeah.
So now Israel is saying, we're going to have to go back in. We're going to do this. And we're saying, Lebanon, if you take control of the Hezbollah, disarm them, okay, we will deal with you nation to nation, but we cannot allow southern Lebanon to be used as a place to attack Israel from. Basically that. And Aoun, what was his name?
Yosef Aoun.
Yosef Aoun, who is the president of Lebanon, said, I would really like to, and actually said to Israel, quit attacking us and we will deal with this. But again, nobody trusts. And the head of Hezbollah got up yesterday and said, we're whole core existence of the Hezbollah. Everything that we are Shiite is a resistance against Israel.
Well, and the other problem is it's not just a resistance against Israel, and I oftentimes have to correct this with people because it's also about them wanting to take more land. This is the bitterness that they have in their heart over their guardianship, as we would call it, right? They want more land, and this is look when Iran did what Iran did, okay. Their whole hope in 79 was to expand the land, okay? By the way, this was also something that was done with Iraq during that time. The big war between Iraq and Iran was a result of Hussein thinking that he could take advantage of the weakening border that came as a result of Khomeini and Yemen. So when all of this was done and nobody actually, which by the way, that was an American mistake. So the reason why everything happened with Iran and Iraq and it lingered as long as it did was because of the arms that we sold to Iran because of the problem that we saw with Iraq, except for the fact that we actually shot ourselves in the foot because what we didn't realize would come out of that would be Hezbollah.
By the way, Hamas is the same. We all
same
made
situation,
mistakes.
of course.
Okay,
same situation.
Here's what I want to ask though: why are the Hezbollah willing to sacrifice their kids in this war?
Islam.
That they're not going to win.
Habibi, Islam.
But no, wait a minute.
Islam.
Egypt is Islam, but has a peace agreement. Jordan is Islam, has a peace agreement.
Kuwait Islam. It's Islam. It's Islamic Brotherhood. This is the mindset. This is Islam. Many Egyptians would say the same thing. So I give my child better to do that. The reason why they're not doing it with Israel is because look, the Egyptians will not engage Israel at the level that Iran is doing, for example, because the Egyptians still hate the Iranians. And the reason why they hate the Iranians is the one person that they blame more than anything for the death of Sadat is Iran. Now, don't get me wrong. They say, oh, it's Islamic Brotherhood, but it's Iran that actually did it.
So look at the situation, and I can't help but make the parallel or the connection between what's going on in Iran, what happened in Gaza, and what's going to happen now in southern Lebanon. Kaddis said, the Minister of Defense, he says, we're going to turn southern Lebanon into another Gaza.
Yeah.
Basically, we will not allow people to live in an area that you're going to attack us from. Very interesting aspect, by the way, side note. The Christian villages in southern Lebanon have come to the Israelis and say,
the Maronite.
Yeah, don't attack us. We're not attacking you.
Yeah.
And Israel's going to have to decide what to do. We tried to create a Christian militia in southern Lebanon. That didn't work. There might be something in that
Yeah,
again.
but the problem with them creating the Christian militia in southern Lebanon was too poisoned by the problem that we created with the Kurds. Because when the Kurds decided that they did not want to deal with all the nonsense going on in Turkey, they formed the PKK. Well, when that whole mess happened, because of the whole Kyrgyzstan issue, we created a whole other issue. Remember with the YPJ, the YPK, which turned into the SDA. I mean, that whole mess, that was all Arab Spring stuff. But here's, let me give you I want to give, you would know this, but I want to give everybody a really good picture of like where all of this, like what all of this looked like. Because this all has everything to do with what people felt entitled to have as Muslims. That's what so much of this is all about. Mm-hmm. Okay, the problem with Hezbollah happened with the struggle that started with the Kurds in Syria, and then Hezbollah came in to Lebanon. This was exactly what Iran needed to identify with the struggle that they were having, especially with the southern portion of the Arabian Peninsula. And that's actually why Yemen became a stronghold for Iran, because of the Houthi, who actually ended up getting killed after the president of Yemen was taken away. And by the way, when the president of Yemen was taken away, if you remember, he was taken away. After he got taken away, he turned again back against where he came from, only to be tossed back and forth. And the final time where he got pushed back in, he was killed 2 days later.
So here's what I need to say. And again, if you saw that picture of me when I was 20 years old, and I just now, yesterday, talked to my nephew, Amiel, who was in the same place
as you
that I was.
Exact same place.
Same place. 40 years later. He's doing the same thing in the same place. He's on one of those little white arrows that you see on the map right there, heading into southern Lebanon in order to make sure that Israel's northern border is secure from these crazy people.
But you know the good news about your nephew doing this now? This is the good news, right? The good news is, unlike the last time when you were in a tank, you don't have Iran funding it, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, you don't have a highly motivated a splinter of different factions fighting against each other to be able to want to get that land. Okay, there were some big mistakes that were made by the Christian Maronites, especially because of what happened in Syria. And then you don't have the disadvantage of what was the blossoming of a civil war with Bashar al-Assad. So there's a lot of huge benefits that he has right now where he's not having to deal with so much of that. Now, there's probably a Cyprus problem that they're going to end up having to deal with that's going to directly affect them on the western border. So hopefully he's not near the western portion of that area that they're overtaking. But with all that said and done, you don't have Iran anymore being the problem. And by the way, look, where this all really started, like if you really want to think about it, where this all really started was when the United States of America saw an opportunity in Saudi Arabia to make some money with oil. And actually, it was even simpler than that. It was a company in the United States of America that wanted to go to the desert in Saudi Arabia and explore for oil. They got permission to do it. They found oil. Once they found oil, they built this booming oil city. And the royal family in Saudi Arabia quietly allowed it to happen because, as pagan as it was, They were making lots of money.
They were
By the way,
making
it's interesting.
billions.
Do you know the first name of the guy who was actually who owned the construction company that was building all of that out in Saudi Arabia?
Yes, I do.
His name is Muhammad.
I know what his last name. I know what his last name is too.
And his son happened to be somebody who joined in the effort to want to destroy the satanic United States of America that perverted his homeland.
Yep.
Do you want to tell everybody who that is?
Well, his first name was Muhammad. His last name was Bin Laden. And his
Who had a son named Osama.
Osama became the Osama Bin Laden that we know today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, it just gets complicated. That's where it all started, actually.
So let's back on, because I think we've kind of created a situation. Israel's war is not going to end, even if Iran is completely subdued. Right. It's not going to end.
That's right. That's right.
We and again, I'm going back to my 20-year-old self sitting on that tank in southern Lebanon, thinking we push them out. We create a positive situation for us. In southern Lebanon, by the way, a year before I was in there, Palestine Liberation Organization terrorists crossed over the fence and took a group of school children hostage in the school called Ma'alot, and actually ended up killing 30 school kids. So I was sitting on that tank thinking, I'm clearing out southern Lebanon from this terrible, terrible evil. And we did. But the evil, it's like, I feel like sometimes, in the sand, when you clear out the sand, okay, and the water just seeps back in again.
Do you know when we went, I just had a quick thought, not to interrupt you, but I just had that, I had to bring this by. When we went to go see, what's her name, over at Tim Thompson's gathering. Remember I went over there at the restaurant, I joined you guys, I was late. We were sitting there and the Sheriff Bianco was there. We went to go see what's her name?
Gabrielle.
Gabrielle. Did you ever tell Gabrielle that when she was a little girl and was in big trouble,
Yes.
you were one of the guys in the tank that actually probably saved her life?
Riding through Mount Jayun, yes.
What did she say to that?
She had tears in her eyes.
I forgot to ask you that question, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, when we realized that she was huddled down in her basement and I was driving a tank through the valley of Mount Jayun at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Check it out. Gabrielle.
My brain just, I love her. I think she's amazing.
Brigitte Gabrielle.
Brigitte Gabrielle.
Brigitte Gabrielle.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is this. My young, naive self sitting on that tank there believed that we could end this. It would be solved. It would be, we clear out the bad guys and there will be peace and justice for all. And I'm sorry to say that 40 years later, we're in the same place. Yeah. Yeah. But there's a difference, because 40 years later, Israel is much stronger than it ever was.
Yeah, of course.
Israel is much more capable than it ever was. And Israel is much closely aligned with the United States than it ever was in the past.
Of course.
Even though there is an attempt by people like Tucker Carlson to kind of break that up. But
Tucker Carlson's a Satan worshiper.
Yes, but Satan is using him to push a wedge, or to try to push a wedge between the United States of America and Israel.
100%.
And that is the wedge that I think is critical. I explained to an Israeli the day before yesterday how Tucker Carlson is dangerous to Israel, because the support that Israel has from the United States of America comes from its Christian evangelical
Tucker
dynamic.
Carlson is dangerous to Christians.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson is poison to Christianity. He's absolutely dangerous to Christians. He is not a good guy.
No, and it's getting worse.
Yeah, he's not a good guy, and he's proven himself to be as evil as he is. He continues to attack men like me, but you know the funny thing about that is he refuses to tell the truth about what we believe, and he refuses to tell the truth about what's really happening, and he knows it too. And if you want to talk about selling out like a whore for your country, that's him. He's a traitor.
So I'm kind of putting it up here. Watch for two things happening on both of these fronts. In Lebanon, Israel is probably going to pound the Hezbollah enough, and to put enough pressure on Lebanon that they will take up. And I'm worried about another civil war in Lebanon. They've already had one civil war between the Lebanese who are not Hezbollah and the Hezbollah, and that's probably what's going to happen.
Do you think? Because I think the same thing. I think we may be seeing like a civil war in Lebanon. Do you think it's going to be long-lived or short-lived? Especially if Israel's best interest is to see a civil war not last long in Lebanon.
The question is, again, Israel is going to have to pound the Hezbollah enough to allow the Lebanese to be courageous enough or fearless enough to stand up and take control of their country. And I'm not surprised that that's what we're doing in Iran, where you have to pound Iran enough for the normal people, the rational people, okay, to be able to take over control of their own country. Lebanon and Iran are in more or less the same situation. And here's what's happening. Israel is helping the Lebanese overcome this crazy Shia militia.
What is Lebanon going to do about their prime minister, the guy that came from the ICJ?
No, he'll stay in control. He's Christian, by definition.
But he's a complete. Anyway, I'll leave that alone.
So we're going to have to see how that's going to play.
It's so interesting, man. And then Egypt, throughout this whole time, has been eerily silent, bro.
Very much. Egypt.
Like eerie, like
Jordan.
spooky.
Jordan,
I kind of understand why, because Jordan is facilitating a lot of the military movements of the United States right now.
How come Turkey's silent?
Because Turkey is building up in Syria. That's what I think. I think Turkey is gearing itself up to silently eliminate the Kurdish population that's in their way. Kind of like what they did with the Armenians. I'm not kidding you, bro.
So here's
maybe I'm wrong.
Here's our situation. So this is going to be an interesting week, but I kind of feel myself saying that every time we kind of meet here on Tuesday.
Yeah, I know.
This is going to be an interesting week.
I know. Well, let's take some questions. We'll go look at. I'll read some of the super chats. Tweeter trash. Who are you quoting? Oh, this is a quote. I also welcome a public debate with any one of you geniuses who think she's a grieving widow and it's immoral. Oh my goodness!
Here we go.
I don't know.
Here we go.
Here's the funny thing about this. So, Tweeter trash. Let me just explain to you what Candace Owens is doing here, just so that you're aware. Candace Owens is losing her mind because she's not getting the attention from Erica that she demands getting. She's super affected. The fact that Erica is being silent about Candace actually kills Candace more than anything. And the more angry Candace gets and the more unhinged that Satan worshiper gets, she looks more and more and more and more idiotic to the crowds that she actually talks about. And then that's the problem. That's absolutely the problem. So, look, I think that Candace, let the witch die. Okay? And when I say that, I'm not talking that I want her to die. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is let the evil just melt away, because it will. When her voice becomes so deeply inconsequential to the point where people just don't care anymore, and her own people look at her and go, "You're a cuckoo." I mean, to stand up and to say that it's immoral to actually defend Erica Kirk, you literally have lost your mind. And by the way, isn't it amazing to think about the fact that as Candace Owens continues to run her filthy, Satan-worshiping mouth, she might make a few $1 million here and a few $1 million there, but she doesn't even come close to doing the level of building that Erica Kirk, not saying anything, is doing every day.
Again, she is living off the clicks, and she's living off the
She's like Megyn Kelly. Yeah.
love of her followers. And again, she's doing it. Megan's doing it. Piers Morgan is doing it. I mean, everybody's doing it. And when it makes click sense to support Israel, everybody's supporting Israel. When it makes click sense to be against Erica Kirk, okay, because it kind of pushes everybody's kind of how do you say gossip button,
Yeah.
then it makes sense. And that's
Well, look
exactly,
at look at what happened, bro. She did the Erica series that she was doing. The first one was 5 million views. The next one was like 4 or 3. The next one was like 2 million. The next one was like 1 million. So she had to pivot to something else.
Yep.
She
By the
had
way,
to.
Megan is there. Pierce Morgan is there. Same thing. I mean, you see how they pivot? They ride the wave of the clicks. And my question or my problem is this. Does that mean that most of the people are anti-Israel and anti-Erica? I mean, is that...
I think that they're sick. I think that they're sick. And I think that the people who truly love Erica and really know what's actually going on and know her really, really well would know better. You know what I mean? Would know better. And for the person who's running their mouth, you're probably, I'm not even going to mention you by name, but I'm just going to say this. You are probably one of the ones that suffers from Candace Owens retardation. If you're one of her audience that you believe her, you're sick in the head. You actually are just completely disabled in the head. I'm not even going to respond to you, okay? Because let me just simply say this. If you're running around, James, have you been... Okay. First of all, unlike you, and I'm not even gonna respond, I know the Kirk family, and I know the Kirk family well. Okay? All of the Kirk family. All of the Kirk family. All right? Number one. Number two, let me just simply say this. So what if Charlie Kirk had 15 mansions, which he doesn't? So what if he did? So what? And unlike virtually anybody in this room, I have been in Charlie Kirk's house multiple times. House and his mom's house. I'm just gonna leave it alone.
Okay.
But what I'm gonna say this. This is like super, super, super important. Okay. God, and I'm gonna switch subjects altogether because I'm just gonna leave it alone. God wants his children to be blessed with wealth. This is not a health and wealth statement. If it was a health and wealth statement, it would be like, give me your money and you gonna get paid and God gonna bless you. Blah, blah, blah. God has given his children wisdom from the Bible to develop skill sets to build wealth. So if a child of God has wealth, it's them simply doing what God has asked them to do because they've developed their skill set. And if you do the work requisite with the skill set, you deserve it. I will never apologize for building wealth for my wife, for my children, and for my children's children. Just like my dad never apologized doing it for us. So if you want to make the acquisition of money from the implementation of godly principles in hard and brilliant work, well, you're part of, very likely, the completely jacked up audience that watches people like Candace Owens.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's hanging out, lying, cheating, and stealing to make money. And even then, she doesn't even really care about where that goes because she's too busy giving into her father, the devil. It's really simple. It's really, really simple. Anyway, I don't want to allow that devil worshiper to take over the importance of the conversation that we're having now, because the conversation we're having now is far more important than anything that Satan worshiper is doing. Far more important. Let's take a few questions. As you guys get ready to put your questions through, let me go back and read some of the super chats. I'm not going to make the mistake of engaging in any of that nonsense because I've done it before, and I have no desire to interact with those lies or those liars. Like I'm sorry, but and I'm not doing it. Okay. All right. Let's go to some of these super chats. I'm going to read them, and then David, you're looking at the questions, right?
I'm looking for questions right
now.
now.
Jada, all I have to say is, first of all, aloha. And thank you so much for the just unbelievable generosity that you continue to show. You are amazing. Again and again and again and again and again. You are awesome. Brad, I'm going to read your comments because they've been so solid before. Hopefully I'm not going to get in trouble. Let me see here. Filling out NCAA tourney bracket. My finalists are Kaddis U versus Tall Institute of Higher Learning. Curious who you all think I should pick. You better pick Tall because he's going to win. Been thinking 2028 primaries coming up. Do you think the woke right will have a candidate? And if so, who? I don't know. Tucker hinted, by the way, at the fact that he might run for president, which is a complete joke.
No, please.
I know.
Please.
I know. He won't. It's kind of scary. Tweeter Trash, thank you so much. And you know my view on debating that person. First of all, she probably never debate me, not in a million years, because quite frankly, most of those people would never debate me. Tucker Carlson would never, ever, ever debate me for a lot of obvious reasons. Patty Stordahl, thank you so much. You're amazing. Patriot B, I assume that's Patriot Barbie. Thank you. You're amazing. Beth Rivera, thank you. You say God bless. Gina Saved by Grace, thank you for your generosity. You say many blessings. Jada, you're awesome. As usual, you say God bless you both. Yes, David, we should be praying for the people of Iran. Amen to that, Jada. Jada, you're incredibly generous. Sending a shout out to, C Blessed, 639. Aloha. C Blessed is somebody that I have not seen online in a while. God bless you. Waiting on the Lord. God bless Pastor James and Brother David. Sent a small gift for both of you. You know what? I just got word that some coffee came in today.
Coffee's
I'll
good.
have to look at this. Oh, that's interesting. That's you waiting on the Lord. God bless you. Wow. That's a pleasant surprise. I just got a text that my personal assistant actually has the package. You know what? I'm going to send a text to him to ask him to bring that package over here, so that if we have time, we'll actually read it.
I don't find any questions, by the way.
No questions. You guys have an opportunity to get
somebody
questions
asked
asked.
about the Israeli Heritage Foundation calling Trump the Prince of Peace. And I don't know. I mean, let's put it this way. Let's kind of stress something also.
Trump can't be the Antichrist. I'll just tell you that right now.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is not all Jews are right, and not all Israelis have the truth. And we have our wackos and our crazies just like everybody else. Somebody sent me something from The Guardian, and I checked it. It was written by an Israeli that was very, very anti-Israel, that we're starving them, that the genocide, and they don't say Israel is committing genocide. They're saying people are saying that Israel's committing genocide. I mean, that's a Tucker way of saying the same thing. But then you check up and you see the guy, and I check it up on the Israeli media, and it turns out that he's anti-Israeli. He didn't serve in the army. I mean, like everybody else was drafted, he pulled out his I'm a pacifist card to say that he wouldn't serve in the army. And he's been making movies about how terrible Israel is. And The Guardian took his article about Israel and making him the word of mouth about the truth in Israel when he's got no connection. So what I'm trying to say is you will find people all over the scale and whatever. The question is, yes, what's true? Yes, there are rabbis that are anti-Israel. Again, he's a rabbi, but he can be anti-Israel. Now, you're going to have to evaluate, just like you evaluate everything else, you're going to have to evaluate what you believe and what's important.
Keep talking, brother. I'm going to open
You
this
have to
package.
evaluate what's important and who you're listening to. And again, always select your sources, which is why I like to be here with all of you, because we are a source that knows what's going on. And again, share the information you have here. Spread the information you have here, because we need to fight the algorithm, the algorithm in order to overcome the devil who is actually spreading the lies. What did we get? I'm all curious here. I can't concentrate on this.
I was sorry. So this came in from Waiting on the Lord. Look at this, brother.
Am Israel
Am
Chai.
Israel Chai. Here we go. Look at that. This is awesome. It's called Iron Dome Coffee.
Oh, I wonder if it is as strong as it needs to be.
We have the, you know what you should bring? You should bring in your little Turkish coffee.
Maker?
Yeah.
Well, it's a little gas burner.
We're going to do that. We're going to make this. Thank you so much. This is amazing. Thank you. You guys, what a blessing. Thank you, you
Dave
guys.
Banner
It's
just
a
now
pleasant
asked
surprise.
me something. Do
Kevin,
you
put this
think
over
do you think Israel will take out the troops in southern Syria, northern Israel, the Hamas, or has groups? And it is interesting that there are quite a few Russian troops. Let's say this. I know that Israel is keeping a very, very close eye on what's going on in southern Syria. And we have shown before, and I wouldn't be surprised if we need to do it again, that we will go into southern Syria and deal with whatever needs to be dealt with, both from the air and lately a couple of times actually on the ground. There were a couple of very, very, how do you say, complex special forces events that took place in southern Syria on the ground in southern Syria. So, yes, I think Israel will take out whatever needs to be taken out.
Yeah, and then, by the way, Meknotu, I might as well just call you out right now, just so that you're aware. Not only have I seen Charlie's children, I've held Charlie's children. Okay? I saw Charlie holding both of his babies before the whole world ever knew they existed. Okay? Just for the record. So now you can come back and apologize for making the accusation that you made. And how about you show some brotherly love by actually admitting to the fact that you're wrong? Anyway, sorry, I had to do that. I took the focus away, but it's just actually ridiculous.
Here's a question about the 4 terrorist actions in the United States were all done by ISIS. Okay, so let's put it this way. These organizations are not OSHA approved. I mean, they don't have a rigid kind of dynamic. So I could see a young Muslim who is Sunni looking at the United States pounding Iran, which is Shiite, and not being affiliated with Iran directly, but saying to himself, I have to do something to uphold Muslim pride. And a good example is Iran actually supporting Hamas, which is basically another version of the Muslim Brotherhood, even though they are Sunni. So there is a connection between the Muslims, especially when you get as far away as the United States.
Yeah.
So, again, Muslim hate against the United States doesn't really differentiate between Sunni and Shiite or Iranian-backed or other-backed. So I'm going to say it like this. Let's just be careful from the Muslims.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, Meknutu, for the record, thank you. God bless you. Absolutely accepted. You just have to understand my position when these statements get made. I feel an obligation to stand up for the widow of my little brother, a widow that I knew before they were married. Okay? So God bless you. I think it's incredibly honorable of you to do what you just did. Thank you. Amazing. Thank you. And God bless you. That's awesome.
This is cool.
Yeah, I know. I just have to say this, by the way, with the coffee too. I can't wait to try it. What are those instant packets, by the way?
I don't know. Dark roast, Sabra spirit. I get you.
Did it come from Israel, you think?
I don't know. Okay, I'll tell you why I'm not sure, but
Because it has a...
no, it doesn't have a kosher.
so probably not.
I'm trying to.
Either way, it's good. I'll take it.
There we go. Okay. So
There's a lot happening.
yeah, no, that's going to happen.
There is a lot happening. Okay, Pastor Kaddis, how are you? Pastor Jeff Durbin said Israel today is not circumcised from the heart, so we shouldn't fully support them. What's your take? Interesting video. So I would very much disagree with Jeff Durbin. Me and Jeff Durbin disagree on a lot of things, but I do want to say this about the man. I think he's a wonderful man. And if it wasn't for Jeff Durbin, there'd be a lot of babies that would be dead right now. If it wasn't for Jeff Durbin, there'd be a lot of people that are part of cults that would not be walking with the Lord right now. If it wasn't for Jeff Durbin, there'd be a lot of people who would not be walking with Jesus right now. So as much as I disagree with Jeff Durbin, the one thing I can say about him is I don't see him as a man with ill intent. I have disagreements with him that I think I could go toe-to-toe with him on. Not that I have any interest in doing that. I have an immense amount of admiration and respect for Jeff. If I were able to see him personally, the one thing that I would do immediately is give him a hug. If it didn't spook him, I'd probably kiss him. And I would say thank you for the immense contribution you've made, not only to our world, but to the body of Christ. I think he is definitely a treasure. Now, I don't agree with him on
is
his
he on
view.
the side of the replacement? I mean, is he going down replacement theology?
Oh, yeah. He's very much a replacement theology guy. There are several people, by the way, that I love very, very much that are replacement theology guys that I would never call evil or demonic or anything like that. We have adamant disagreements, and I truly believe in their heart of hearts they're doing their best for, like they truly believe they're following the Bible. And by the way, many of them, almost all of them, don't hate Jews, and they certainly don't disagree with Israel's right to self-determination. They just don't see it as part of the biblical eschatological, which, by the way, they don't even believe in end times theology, end times eschatology like I do. Like They don't believe it. In other words, it's they're not. They are definitely not like Jew haters. Jeff Durbin certainly is not a Jew hater. Never would be. I would never consider him to be. I think he's a really good man. I think he's a godly man. I think he loves the Lord. I just think he has a different view than we do.
We need to have a discussion on this, because I'm having a hard time with some of the people that, with having respect for people who believe that God has changed his plan for Israel.
Yeah, look.
And that's a whole different discussion.
When it comes to Jeff Durbin, I think the man is brilliant. I really do. I think the man is incredibly smart. I truly am convinced in my heart of hearts that the man just absolutely loves Jesus completely. But he does not agree with any of my beliefs on end times. None. He doesn't believe in any.
What I'm trying to say, I think there's an Israeli Jewish aspect to this that I'm as an Israeli. Again, I'm a born again Christian, but I'm still a Jew.
Yeah,
and sometimes using Christianity the wrong way kind of pushes against or triggers my Jewish sensitivity. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It becomes less of a theological question that we can debate in the hallways of a Christian college, and more of I'm not going to say a personal, but more of a persecutional element. And I'm trying to understand how to accept brotherly Christian-y love for somebody
I get it.
who I see is one of the sources of persecution against the Jewish
Well,
people.
I can promise you that Jeff Durbin, by no stretch of the imagination, would be the source of persecution by anybody like that. As a matter of fact, Jeff Durbin was a huge fan of Charlie Kirk. He was actually at Charlie's memorial service. Jeff Durbin is a true evangelist. He really does love the Lord. I have never heard venom come out of Jeff Durbin's mouth. And by the way, so I have so much respect for a guy like Jeff Durbin that I would never debate him publicly. It would be one of those things that I would debate him privately with, because by God's grace, Jeff has had so much fruit in his ministry that I would never want to take away from that fruit by publicly debating him, because I truly believe Jeff Durbin is one of us.
Okay. So
I really believe that.
Which is why this is a good example, because people who come and say, well, Israel isn't the chosen people anymore, and the promised land has not been promised to you anymore.
Yeah, but he doesn't
That-
quite.
wait, let me finish. That pushes against my.
Yeah, it pushes against me too.
No, it pushes. No, it pushes against you theologically. It pushes against me, persecution wise.
Yeah, I get
Because
it.
that is the core of persecution, and people are using that to say you have no right to Israel and you're just a baby killer.
Yeah, but he would. But see, Jeff Durbin would never say that.
Okay.
From anything that I've ever watched Jeff say or do, he would never say that. He just
So,
wouldn't.
This is an interesting discussion. I'd like to unpack that sometime if we
Yeah,
have time.
again, I also want to say this as well. I don't know Jeff real well. I just know that I've watched a lot of his videos. I've heard a lot of the things that he said, and I very much appreciate his ministry. I think he's a really, really good guy. So when people talk about him negatively because of this view, I would be one that would stand up for him, not because I'm just doing it to do it. I don't think that the man has any nefarious cause in him. And as a matter of fact, I've never even heard him speak negatively of Israel or Jews. Right?
I get you.
He just he does not look.
By the
His
way,
his biblical view is directly against my eschatology. If that makes any kind of sense.
okay. We need to kind of wrap this up. Sorry.
There's a lot here, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
I'm going to say this. What's happening in the Horns of Hormuz, what we talked about earlier, is critical this week. What's happening in Lebanon is critical this week. And both of those, I think we're going to be on the other side of these two events when we meet here next week.
yeah. There's, I don't know. You think it's going to be that quick?
I think Hezbollah is going to be somewhere there, though the chief of staff said a month.
And I trust you more than anybody on this. I
think
think
it's
you have
gonna
a
be-
better grasp on this stuff than
it's gonna
anybody
be
I know.
quicker. I think that the shift that President Trump is making, we're going to have to do this alone. We're not going to have the support of the Arab nations and the European nations. The shift that he's making says, okay, then I'm going to have to use the tools that I have to use, including, and again, this is going to be something very interesting, including boots on the ground, and that's going to be a major shift. We're going to see this week whether that's going to happen or not.
You think there will be boots on the ground?
Well, define the ground. If we're talking about islands, and think about
The
America.
Tuckers will definitely call it boots on the ground.
Yeah, but think about American Marines taking over the Karaj Island. What's it called? The oil and gas island that they have.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be kind of interesting. We'll see. We need America. Who said we need America? I like that.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. And we've been going for over 2 hours.
Yalla.
Is it two? Has it been
I
two?
don't think. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, for sure. We've been going for over 2 hours. Let me take a look. Yeah, 2 hours and 13 minutes.
No wonder I'm hungry.
Okay, David, you want to pray for us?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
אבינו שבשמיים, יתקדש שמך, יעשה רצונך כמו בשמיים, כן בארץ. Just help us to understand your plan. Help us to line up to your plan. Help us to explain your plan to the best of our ability. I pray for the people in Israel under the rockets right now, literally running in and out of the bomb shelters and trying to explain to their children what's happening, and to the soldiers crossing over the border into southern Lebanon in order to make that a safe haven for Israel again. I pray for American and Israeli pilots, soldiers, crews over and through and underwater in the other battlefield in Iran. I pray for the Iranian people, Lord. They know not what they do. And it's just so sad to see how they are being used by the enemies of you, and the suffering that they have suffered and they will suffer in order for this to change. We pray for all the people watching, and I want to say thank you to everybody that is connecting to us and watching us, and for all of the support and all of the love that we receive from so many people around. I want to say thank you for Pastor James. That's making such a massive impact. And again, let this week be a week of peace and your will. In the name of your Son, Yeshua. Amen.
Amen and amen. Amen and amen. Guys, we love you. Just remember, the Lord knows what he's doing. We need to keep seeking him. Pray for the building. We're asking you guys to do that.
Please.
We think it's a huge ministry opportunity. We love you guys. You guys are awesome. And keep looking to the Lord. He's doing something very special with his people. Amen?
Amen.
All right. We love you guys. God bless you. Keep fighting the good fight.
Ta-dum.